Now we're coming to the moment that many of you have been waiting for. And I absolutely love having comedians here. And comedians, and I have so much respect for comedians, and I mentioned it before, because comedy for me is pure art. There is nothing more pure than comedy. You see, it's only a person, a microphone, and it needs to make you laugh. Now, obviously, there are all kinds of comedians. Some will make you laugh, and some, maybe it's not going to be funny for other people. But this guy is hardcore. He is like, when you think about a stand-up comedian, you think about him. He's a real stand-up comedian, really, really funny. Now, we're going to unmute some people. I hope it's okay. We're not going to unmute everybody. We're going to unmute only a few people that are on camera. Now, please imagine right now, even if you are not unmuted, that you are unmuted. So do not say anything that you don't want us to hear, okay? But the reason we are muting a few people is because we want to get that vibe of a stand-up comedy club, all right? So without further ado, let me introduce our guest entertainer. From television's Bones and True Blood, the film Joe Dirt, and the host of the podcast Lennys Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy. From Chicago, with you, Lenny Schmidt.
Hey, Alan, thank you so much for having me on the show. I can't thank you enough for being here. I always look forward to doing a show from my bedroom in front of an orange curtain, wearing a shirt and a tie and no pants. This is the best thing about COVID, really, is that I haven't worn pants for one show for the last 3 or 4 months. It's comfortable. You guys don't need to know that, but the second the show's over, my bed's right there. I lay down and I take a nap immediately. So there you go. How's everyone doing? Thank you. Hello across the world. Yeah, do the little hand thing. Give it up for Alan, please. Give Alan a round of applause for the card trick. We'll do this for Alan. He's got to get some props. It's very good work. It's good to be here. It's nice to be home. I'll be honest with you. I live in Los Angeles. I'm from Chicago. I was lucky enough to be able to travel the last 2 weeks. I went out and did some clubs. I worked in Oklahoma City. I worked in Wichita, and I traveled for the first time during this whole COVID thing. This is different now. It's a whole new world now when you go out there walking around. First of all, I followed the rules, wore the mask, the whole thing. I'm all dressed up and covered in the duct tape, head to toe. Walk to the airport, not a problem. Everything's fine. People still look at you weird. I think it was all the coughing and hacking I was doing in the airport. That might have done it. It's very possible I freaked him out. But I will tell you this. I walked right through security. Not a problem. It was the easiest travel day ever. I'm like, hey, you want to check my... No? Okay, I'll just get on the plane. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I fly Southwest a lot. That's an airline I fly quite often. I like Southwest for a couple of reasons, but I don't like them for one specific reason. They don't give you a seat, an assigned seat. I want to know where I'm sitting on the plane. The plane's not a bus. If you pay for a flight, I want to see where my seat on the ticket. 11B, 11C, 11D. They don't do that on Southwest. They give you a group, and you stand with your group by a rope, like cattle. Just a bunch of you, and you're forced to watch better cattle get on before you. You know what I mean? You're like, Murr. And they walk by like, Murr, and they'll do pre-boarding assistance, but they won't give them enough time to get down the tunnel. You know what I mean? It's like 10 seconds, maybe. And all of a sudden, they're just walking down, and all of a sudden, some guy lifts the rope and says, "Go!" And people just start running. They're coming. And I will run you over for analysis. I will. I don't care. I'm coming right through. This COVID thing has changed the whole way I handle colds. Usually, as an entertainer, when you travel on ships and you travel a lot, I have a great immune system. You know what I mean? I used to have a perfect remedy for a cold. This works for everyone, except COVID. I haven't tested it yet for COVID. I'll be honest with you. I'll let you know if I get the COVID, and I'll try for this. But for any other cold, try this. It's a 3-part cure. Works for everyone. It's powerful. Here's what you do. Here's the first part. Number one. I don't care what's wrong with you. Headache, stomach ache. You don't feel good. Do this first. Shot of Jameson. Number one. And drink it straight down. Bam. All the way. Shoot it all the way. Don't sip it. After you drink the Jameson, you chase it immediately with a shot of NyQuil. Yeah. Back to back. Bam. Bam. After the NyQuil, you chase that with a shot of Jägermeister.
Oh my God.
Back to back. Bam, bam, bam. 3 shots. Every 2 hours, do that. Every 2 hours. Just during the day. Just during the day. At night, you need sleep. You need some rest. You do that, that cold is gone in like 16 weeks. You feel you are 30% in no time. I'll tell you right now. 30%. Speaking of doctors, I have a checkup coming up. I don't know if you know, my birthday's coming up. I'm going to be 56 in a few weeks. And I go and get my yearly checkup every year, the day of my birthday. That's because the night of my birthday, I go out and I do stuff. I do everything I'm not supposed to do. Everything the doctor tells me not to do. I don't care what it is. Red meat, scotch, bourbon, beer, meth. I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care. I break every rule. I'll tear a tag off a mattress. I'll do it. So I got to go see the doctor the day before that, because when you're over 50, one bad night of not eating well and drinking heavily will whack your system completely off the charts. You know what I mean? You go in to see a doctor, they run one blood test, suddenly you're surrounded by 9 guys in hazmat suits with oxygen masks coming at you. Also, and I just changed doctors too, which I don't know if you have to do this in a while. Changing doctors sucks. It's the worst thing in the world to do. Here's the hardest thing about changing a doctor. Your first meeting with a new doctor, you sit down and he's asking you all those questions, and he's got your medical reports in front of you. So you got to remember all the lies you told the previous doctors. That's a lot of pressure. I can't remember that. You know, he looks at me, he's like, so how much do you drink? I'm like, what does it say there? He said, it says here you drink 3 or 4 scotches a night. I go, is that what it says? Wow. I must have been drunk when I answered that question. I'll be honest with you, my birthday falls during the holidays, and that's the hardest part for me, because I'm one of those guys that lets the holidays go. You know what I mean? Everybody eats, you try to eat well, try to take care of yourself. You know, you get older, you start to budget what you eat, pay more attention to bad foods. But when the holiday comes, I don't care. I'll eat it all. I'll break all the rules during the holidays. I know this. I've accepted it. I know every Thanksgiving, my diet is going to be completely out of whack to the following Halloween. That's just how I roll.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. One guy is that Howard? Of course, that's Howard. I am actually originally from Chicago. I'm in LA now, but I'm from Chicago. I grew up, I had 4 brothers, 4 little brothers. I was the oldest of 5 boys. My mom tried 5 times to have a girl. After the 5th boy, she said, that's enough. Put a dress on him. I'm not going through labor ever again. Boys, meet your sister, Eddie. He's in therapy. I wasn't the greatest kid in the world either. I was a little difficult as a child. I was a handful. I was not well behaved. But when it came to schoolwork, education, my grades, I was a 2.0 student. Thank you very much.
2.02.
Yes, clap. They start you at 0. That's all I'm saying. You know, you can't mail in 2.0. You got to go to gym and wood shops. A lot of work. I had a little brother. He was one of those 4.0 kids. You got an A in every class he ever took. He'd come home. He'd be all happy, proud, cocky. He'd walk in the door like, I got my report card. And I'd be like, shut up, shh. Because I used to hide the report cards. And then my mom would look at me and she would go, where's your report card? And I'd be like, they're not doing that this year. They say good job and go home. My mom was tough. We didn't have much money growing up either. My mom wears tights. My mom was a single mom, raised 5 boys by herself. It's a hard thing for me to think about now. I'm a parent. I have teenage daughters. She was in her early 30s with 5 single, and we were all different forms of poor. We were homeless for a while. We lived in a car. We lived in a tent. We lived at a friend's house. We stayed at different places. But my mom eventually got a job, got a house, and really got us back together. It was an amazing accomplishment for me to think about that as a parent. I don't know how she handled that pressure, but she did everything she could to get by. She had a deal with a local grocery store where she would get a case of canned goods, damaged canned goods for $5, like cheap groceries. the kicker, there were no labels on the cans.
Oh.
So our kitchen was filled with canned goods with no labels. None. And every night a brother would grab a can and give it to her, and she would grab each of the cans and open them up and mix up and make dinner, not knowing what the ingredients were going to be. We invented the show Chopped. We would hand her a can and she would open it up and go, okay, let's see. The first ingredient is cream corn. The second ingredient, lima beans. Third ingredient, blueberry pie filling.
Oh my God.
And the fourth ingredient, beefaroni. But she would mix it up and she would find a way to make it good. She took everything she had and made the best out of it. And it was amazing. It was a great lesson as a child. Also, as a kid, you start to figure out what's in what can when you're pulling them out of the cabinet every night. You know what I mean? You get pretty good practice. But I will tell you this, after doesn't matter how much time, tuna and cat food come in the same can. Yeah, now that's a win-win if you're a cat, not if you're a fat little boy from the suburbs. She was tough too. My mom was a tough woman. She was very tough. She used to ground you and make it hurt for life. That was her goal. Was to mess you. So you were in your 30s in therapy, hyperventilating, going, I remember that day. She grounded me one time, took my Van Halen tickets away from me.
No.
And then she went to the concert. For weeks, my friends would call me on the phone going, hey, Len. Hey, put your mom on, will you? We're going to the prom.
I can't get to Chelsea on here. Can you check your court sheet?
All right, before I get out of here, I work on ships. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I used to work on ships. I miss cruise ships like many of you do. I'm sure many of you can't wait to get back out there. I check the cruise news every single day so that I know what's going on with the news. I know that they're going to try and bring some cruises back. Short cruises, they'll start with those, which is fine. I've done those as a cruise out of Long Beach, California. I do all the time. It's a 4-day, goes from Long Beach to Catalina Island off the coast and down to Ensenada, and then right back to Long Beach. That's it. That's the whole cruise. It's like 8 miles. Really, it's 8 miles if you think about it. If you had a car and there's no water involved, you could do the whole thing in like an hour and a half, tops. It's a short cruise. It's so short that when you're in port the first day, you can see the port for the second day from the ship all day. You're like, hey, where are we going tomorrow? We're going right there, right there. It's such a short cruise. If you drive to the port and park your car in the garage, you can lock or unlock your car from the ship the entire cruise. You're like, I forgot to lock the car. And I will leave you with this. I'll leave you with this. The hardest part about cruising for anyone, I tell everyone the same thing, is coming home. Customs and immigration and standing in line. It is such a long, tedious, boring day. It is the worst. It takes all day. Do this next time you cruise. Do this, and this will break the day up for you. It will make it entertaining and fun. Everyone will have a good time. So do this. When you're standing in line, you get to the front, you go to see your customs officer, walk up and do this. Hey, is it illegal for me to bring drugs into the country? And he'll look at you and he'll go, yes. And then look at him and calmly and politely go, okay, thank you. And look at the guy behind you and go, I told you. Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Thank you.
By Alan so-and-so's.
That was so much.
Yay! Finally got on.
All right, that was fun. Thank you so much, Lenny. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you would like to participate on our weekly happy hour show, you can find a link to sign up in the description below. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking right here, and don't forget to click on the bell so you are notified every time we publish new videos. To watch the next episode of the happy hour, go ahead and click here.